Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. And today we're going to be trying to answer the $1,000,000 question or formulate a response to the $1,000,000 question that buyers ask their realtors all the time after seeing a property. And that question is, what's this place going to sell for? What's this place potentially worth? And you might be surprised to hear that the answer to this question actually varies from season to season, from market to market, and even from specific property to specific situation. So in this video, I want to talk about my process, how I prepare to answer this question for buyers, so you get a better idea of where this estimated sale price is coming from when you and your realtor talk about it. And before we dive into it, if you're new here, what's up? My name's Andre. I'm a real estate agent here in Ontario, selling and servicing the Simcoe regions of Barrie, Innisfil, Angus, and Muskoka. On this channel, we talk about buying, selling, investing tips, market news, and other real estate related content. So make sure to check out some of my other videos if you like this one. Also, drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this video. So let's start off by talking about why this answer will vary depending on the market, property, or situation that you are in. Starting off with the market, obviously this answer this estimated sale price that your real estate agent is going to give you is going to hinge on the fact of how much supply or inventory there is in the market, as well as how much demand there is for that inventory. For example, in a buyer's market where the buyers mostly have control, there's too many listings for the amount of buyers out there, I would recommend to all my buyers, let's offer under asking price. But that drastically shifts when you're in a seller's market and there's more buyers than there are sellers. If you're offering under asking price on every property that you're seeing, there's a really good chance that you're not gonna get it, and there's a really good chance you're not gonna be able to purchase in that market. The follow-up to that is analyzing the type of property that you are looking at. Is it something that's extremely sellable? For example, 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom townhouses in Barrie are just going off the market like this. But if you switch that dynamic and you're looking at a property that has 3 bedrooms upstairs but only 1 bathroom for the top floor and only 1 bathroom for the main floor, well, that shifts the dynamic. There's not that many buyers looking for that because it's a less sellable property. On top of that, you have finishes, location. Is there, a GO train running in your backyard that you're gonna be hearing every single night that's negatively impacting the property? Or is it environmentally protected land where no one's gonna be building in your backyard for years to come? When it comes down to estimating that sale price based on the property and the market, that's going to change from property to property, because even in a seller's market, if this specific property is distressed, that estimated sale price is going to be lower as opposed to a property that's really done up. And we know as real estate agents that it's going to gravitate a lot of buyers towards that property. So it's going to shift from that. And then on top of that, you also have each situation. For example, if you already sold your property and you are in a time crunch and you need to buy something within the next 2 to 3 weeks, or else you're gonna be left like homeless, well then in this case, you might have an estimated sale price, but you and your agent are gonna be talking about what could potentially offer more to make your offer so appealing that they take it because you love the property and you need it. But if you're in a situation where you don't necessarily have to leave right away, then you can kind of talk about that sale price and change it up a little bit more, maybe go a little lower because you're not in a position where you need to buy and you can potentially look for a better deal. So this answer is definitely going to vary depending on the market, the property, and even your specific situation on what an estimated sale price will be. That's why when you ask a real estate agent, hey, what's this property going to sell for? They're probably going to give you a range like I do in most cases, not an exact selling number like, it's listed for $499, but it's going to sell for $539,680 because we don't really know, and that number is definitely gonna change depending on certain parameters. Personally, in this market, I like to give a range or a spread of about $25,000. So if a property is listed for say $499 and the comparables show between $600 to $675 on the higher end, I'll kind of take it, compare it, do some deductions and additions, and say, okay, this property might be worth between $615 to $635 or $640, and kind of give that kind of spread, which we're going to talk about the unknown variable, which no one can really account for. But this estimated sale price, you're asking, your real estate agent what this property might be worth, and then keeping track of what it eventually sells for if you don't end up offering on it, is a really important conversation to have, because it kind of sets the benchmark, or it sets the level that you're going to be looking at going forward in your home search. Meaning it's going to factor in or play a big role on the properties that are sent out to you on your real estate search. It's going to depend on the properties that you end up seeing, and it's going to ultimately depend on the properties that you end up offering on. Because if your budget is like $600,000 and you are looking in a city or neighborhood that is still hot, that still has competition going on, looking at properties that are listed for $599 probably isn't the right way to go, because they're very likely out of your budget. And you don't want to overextend yourself or be financially liable if you end up falling in love with a property at this price point and then deciding to pay extra for it, because you might end up being house poor, where your housing expense is the biggest expense every month and you have no leftover money to do anything else which really that should not be the purpose of real estate. That's why you need to have a budget and you need to stick to it. So now let's talk about pulling up comparable properties and analyzing them, which is something that I do at least an hour to half an hour before every single showing or set of showings that I have. Prior to, I take a look at, what comparable properties sold within the same street, the same little neighborhood, or the same area, so that going forward, if the list price is lower than the market value, as again we've seen, and it's been so common in the 2021 real estate market, I have a good idea of what this property or what the sellers might potentially want for this property prior to even seeing it. And then once we get inside, we take a look at the finishes, analyze the neighborhood a little better, and that gives us an even better idea of what the property might be worth, and what, if we wanted to go forward with a contract or offer, what we should structure it, or what the price point should be. This is generally a quick search just to give us a basic starting point. Once a client decides that they want to put an offer in, we'll go more in depth on maybe making deductions or additions to average out an estimated sale price of what this property might be worth, what its value might be. But for example, say a comparable property sold and it was painted matte green, and this new one that we're going to be seeing is a nice modern neutral color, and we know that the average cost to paint this property is going to be $2,000. The average return on investment on painting is 107%. Therefore, this property that we're going to be seeing is potentially worth $4,000 more than what this comparable property sold for, regardless of what it's listed. So that just gives us a basic starting point, and then we go a little more in depth once a client wants to put an offer in. And that brings us to the unknown variable, a little piece of information that no one can predict, something that we have to account for, and that obviously comes down to competition. It's easier to do in a buyer's market, but as we've seen in a seller's market, regardless of what the comparables show, and you could have, a mathematician break down every single cost to give you an exact dollar amount of what a property might be worth. But once another offer comes in, you now have to try and predict the motivation of this other offer if you want to secure that property for yourself. A great example of this happened just recently. We went to go see an end unit townhouse in Barrie with some clients. This property had no AC, it was really beat up, it was in rough condition. It was overall good bones, but it just needed a lot of work, and it was listed at $550,000. A comparable property in that same distressed condition sold for $550,000. So following that showing, the conversation that we had was that we wanted to offer under asking price because it needed a lot of work. That other one sold for $550,000, so there's a really good chance that this property was not going to get competition and we'd be the only ones dealing with the sellers. We did not end up putting an offer in that night, but the next day they ended up getting an offer. So they set a presentation day and pushed our offer off. The day after that, they got 4 offers, and then the day after that, they got 7 offers, and they ended up selling for $650,000, a number that didn't even factor into my head, which I didn't even think was possible in this case. But because it received 7 offers, again, the sellers had leverage to do so, and that's something you have to account for. Obviously, we were not the ones that purchased it. That was too much out of our range, but as much as you can try and predict what an estimated sale price or what this property might go for, having those offers, trying to factor that in, it becomes much tougher the more there are. And that's why there's no exact answer that we can give you when you ask that question, because we don't know whether or not this property will get competition on it at that given market. And that's why it's really important to have a budget and stick with it, because if you end up getting in a multiple offer situation where the estimated sale price is beyond where you're comfortable with paying, you need to be able to leave that situation and go on to the next one. But at the same time, be looking at properties where you do have a chance to actually secure them and buy them, and you don't want to be in a situation where it's between you and another offer and you feel like you're forced to pay $15,000 or $10,000 more. And then you have to then come up with that cash because your mortgage is for $650,000, you paid $665,000, and you have to come up with $15,000 cash, which just becomes a financial liability, and that's not something that you want. And that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. In the description down below, you'll find my contact info if you want to reach out, as well as a sign up to my weekly email. So if you're interested to receive a weekly real estate market update for the city of Barrie, looking at the new freehold listings, sold freehold listings, new condo listings, as well as sold condo listings, some cool content around Barrie, listing of the week, different things like that, then make sure to sign up to that down below, and I will see you in the next one.